termite attacks most of the crops and trees grown in the semi-arid and subhumid tropics, causing significant yield losses. In general, rain-fed crops suffer more damage than irrigated crops, especially during dry periods or droughts than periods of regular rainfall, and in plants under stress. Lack of moisture, disease, or physical damage rather than in healthy and vigorous plants. The extent of damage varies widely depending on the termite species prevailing in that geographical region concerned. Termites are known to attack plants at all stages of crop development, from seed to the mature plant. Various species of termites build large mounds, often containing millions of workers and soldiers. Termites construct shallow subterranean foraging galleries radiating from the nest for distance up to 50 meters. The main galleries give rise to a network of small galleries from which foraging parties can exploit potential food resources over extensive areas of land. Termites forage directly on underground plant material. Seedlings are either cut just below or above the soil surface. Usually, the seedlings are completely severed, resulting in lowered plant populations. The economic importance of the termites is twofold. Their activities are both extremely beneficial and extremely injurious to man. The benefits in subtropics and tropical parts of India, one can easily see. They perform the most important functions of the earthworms and humus inhabiting organisms of moist temperate regions, but on a wider scale. Since they are so very numerous and feed almost exclusively on dead vegetable substances, they conspire with the bacteria, high temperature and humidity to accelerate the disintegration of all the lifeless plant matter and to convert it into humus, which can be once utilized by the growing vegetation. The termites are therefore important agents in assisting the growth and renewal of the great rainforests of the Amazon, the Congo, and the East Indies. But even in the dry savannas of South America and open forests of Australia, they hasten the dissolution of the dead grasses and other herbaceous plants as well as that of the sparse bushes and trees. In the high mountain regions of India above 4,000 feet elevation and in swampy waterlogged land, termites are of negligible importance as makers of soil. Since the principal food of some of the termite castes is cellulose, they directly injure and destroy both living and dead vegetation and the woodwork of buildings as well as materials stored therein. Termites are among the few forest insects that are able to live in and on both decayed and living plant tissues. Termites injure living plants originally by attack from outside, but may continue the destruction of living tissues by working from outside or from within. In the first case, damage may occur underground by hollowing out or severing or partly removing the bark of roots, and above ground by removing the dead bark of the trunk under the shelter of narrow runways or broad spaces roofed in with earth, and by extending natural cracks, abrasions, or other wounds in the bark, so exposing the living cambium and wood, which after desiccation and partial decay is further destroyed in later seasons. In the second case, termites penetrate a living tree by way of a dead branch or stub, or through the bark at a wound or weakly resistant area in the root or in the bole and branches, and establish themselves in a cavity in the heartwood, which is gradually enlarged until big enough to contain a subsidiary nest with its fillings and chambers of cotton or earth. It has been estimated that termites cause over few billion dollars in damage to wooden structures annually throughout the world, with at least 80% of that attributable to subterranean termites. These estimates show that subterranean termites are some of the most economically important insects to humans. Most control systems in the past have employed extensively applied chemical agents. The focus of research on subterranean termites must now turn to finding more environment-friendly termite control methods. In order to develop new possibilities for more acceptable termite controls, it will be necessary to have a clear understanding of their life history, including reproduction, division of labor, foraging, intraspecific and interspecific interactions, as well as environmental influences. Once this understanding is better achieved, more efficient and more alternative control strategies can be developed. Termite attacks occurred in almost every month but are most numerous in July-August and sometimes also in April-May. The most injurious ones are the root feeders Microtermis obesi, Odontotermis ceylonicus, Odontotermis guptai, and Odontotermis runewali, followed by bark feeders Odontotermis redimani and Odontotermis vashno. Groundnut fields are known to be infested with Odontotermis obesus, Odontotermis bruneus, Odontotermis vallonensis, and Microtermis obesi. Subterranean termites are social insects that live in colonies that may contain hundreds of thousands of individuals. Termite colony members are dispersed throughout the soil and can extend underground tunnels tens to hundreds of feet to reach feeding sites. Each termite colony contains three forms or castes, which are the workers, soldiers, and reproductives. Workers are the most numerous individuals in a termite colony, and they are the termite caste that actually eats the wood. The sterile individuals forage for food and water, construct and repair shelter tubes, feed and groom other termites, care for eggs and young, and participate in colony defense. Soldiers are also wingless and resemble workers, except that they have a large rectangular yellowish brown head with large mandibles. The soldier's primary function is colony defense. Male and female reproductives can be winged or wingless or neotenic. Each can produce new offsprings. A pair of primary reproductives that heads a colony is called the king and queen. Neotenic reproductives often serve as replacements if something happens to the king and queen. Termite colonies mature after 2 to 4 years and then swarming occurs. Each species has a definite set of conditions under which it will swarm. Environmental factors such as heat, light, and moisture trigger the emergence of swarmers, which usually begins in the daylight after a rain. The number of swarmers produced will be proportionate to the age and size of the colony, but regulated by environmental conditions. A pair of swarming termites eventually lands and immediately seeks cover under rocks, stones, or other areas in the soil where a very small nest is developed before they mate. They shed their wings, usually after mating. The wings break off along a weakened line at the base, leaving only a stub attached to the thorax. At first, only the new queen termite lays a few eggs, so the male or king remains with the female since periodic mating is required for continued egg development. Nymphs hatch from the eggs within several weeks and are cared for by the new king and queen. After 2 successive molts, nymphs become workers and begin to feed and care for the original pair. In subsequent years, the young queen grows larger and lays more eggs. When the queen reaches maximum egg production, the colony stabilizes with nymphs, adult workers, soldiers, and reproductives. If the queen dies, secondary reproductives can produce fertile eggs. The size of a colony depends upon factors such as location, food availability, and environmental conditions. Termites also must protect themselves from temperature extremes and attack by ants and other insects. Those that forage above ground protect themselves with shelter tubes constructed from particles of soil or wood and bits of debris held together by salivary secretion. Termites are extremely delicate and sensitive insects. Rearing termites under laboratory conditions has been a challenge to termite workers around the globe. They are highly sensitive to temperature, humidity, and light, and have been reported to die within 2 days under laboratory conditions without soil or presence of queen. Unless and until termites are reared under laboratory conditions without soil or presence of queen, evaluations of insecticides are extremely difficult under field conditions because they are known to avoid treated areas and inhabit untreated ones. Keeping these facts in view, new low-cost trapping technique has been developed. The trapped termites are collected regularly and being maintained in the laboratory. A new technique has been developed in which termite workers and soldiers could be maintained without soil and queen under laboratory conditions for about 145 days without any mortality. The technique has been standardized using 3 different species of termites commonly found infesting Indian Agricultural Research Institute fields. We also tried to grow a colony of subterranean termites from primary reproductives, that is, the swarming males and females. We could successfully grow 3 colonies in rearing jars for about 8 months. Thereafter, the colonies could not be maintained due to the absence of proper culture conditions. The presence of royal chamber and the galleries associated with it indicates the colony was flourishing and was growing satisfactorily. With the changes in public opinion and scientific findings on the use of traditional chemical control methods, alternative, less toxic methods of control must be found for subterranean termites. Research has been lacking in the past on termite behavior. Research has revealed that relatively little is understood about many aspects of termite life. Influences on foraging patterns are an area of constant need of study because of the direct effect on human structures and agriculture. It is important to realize that our knowledge base on these cryptic eusocial insects is driven by assumption and inference. Despite the strides made in the past 10 years, our understanding of many of the important underlying processes that drive termite biology is still lacking. The complexities of termite foraging behavior, location, identification, and recruitment to a food resource are driven by various factors that have not been fully elucidated. In addition, a better understanding of food exploration and dissemination is also needed to predict termite bait technology impacts.